Okay, so when grading project B and using the speed grader to grade it, you can get there by going like this. And the first one that we're going to see here is Anna. And couple things. Anna chose to do the appointment. Okay. And so her first part was, believe it or not, these are the quadrants. Now, I told my students they don't need to be overly concerned with what the quadrants look like, um, because sometimes students do have formatting issues with that chart. And so I'm not going to, ding somebody for not having the chart. As long as they're labeled, that's good. Usually, what students will do is they will type out the word like quadrant one, and then they'll do a list, which is a lot more readable than this. This takes a little bit more work for grading because you have to kind of go through and see what's going on here. And I can tell right off the bat, the very first two things that Anna had, she has listed in quadrant 3, and those definitely look more like quadrant 4 things to me. She also has nothing in her chart on quadrant 4, which leads me to believe that like maybe she doesn't really have a great understanding of the quadrants, and that's okay. But that obviously is a little bit of a hint there. And things like this that say attend HVAC class in quadrant 1, probably not. It's probably going to be a 2. And so it tells me that it's not quite happening. All right. So if you remember, I have some pre-formed comments that I am going to paste in here. And this is what I just did right now was I moved this line over by clicking and holding on it. And that may be something you find useful. In the new comment box now, we do have a few new features, such as you can put them different. You can even do headings and things like that, just like you do in an announcement. Or you can put things in bold, which might be appropriate, or italics, and what we're used to having there, and including like a numbered list or a bullet point list. So I always start with the student's name, and then I just go ahead and paste in the comments that I had from my document that I have here, which are going to be way longer than what I actually end up doing because this has both A and B options in it, and it also has all the good things and bad things, good comments and bad comments, I should say. So the very first line says, for more details about your points, please review the attached grading rubric. So that is true. For students who are getting a perfect score, they probably don't really need that, but I like to put it in there. And the very first one here, you can tell is a positive comment, and it says, excellent job placing your tasks within the appropriate quadrants. Well, unfortunately, that is not something that Anna has done, so I will delete that. And my other ones kind of start with, however. So I have to adjust a little bit. That's why they're called canned feedback. They still need editing. But you'll see the last one that I have there says, for the quadrant, some of the tasks you had listed in quadrant 1 were probably not necessarily things that you can read that. So that probably seems like the most appropriate. And then I would adjust as needed for some of Anna's other things on there. So just because she didn't have the quadrants doesn't mean that it's, that's why she's getting the grade. It's because I'm not sure that, like there's no quadrant 4s, but here's another one that says visited friends in Shelbyville, and she put quadrant 3. I'm guessing that was not an unplanned activity. So actually, I'll just stick with the comments now and then we'll go. So I've now given her a comment on the quadrants. Then we go down to the second part where she said she's scheduled an appointment with her academic advisor, which is wonderful. I'm very glad that she has done that. But unfortunately, the idea was for it to be done before class, or before this was due, so that she could write about it. That did not happen. So she's not going to be able to get any points for that. So now at this point, I think I will go to the rubric. And if we look at that, on the first part of part 2, that is, if you look at all the A categories here, attended event, described event, etc. And so, it's up to you kind of where you would rank it. But for me, I would probably put it in like minimally completed. I'm very glad she has that appointment coming up, but it's not going to quite cut the mustard. And then if we go back to the first part there for the quadrants, I would probably give that somewhere here in the middle in terms of, I actually probably would give it a 6 or 7 or 8, somewhere in here. Some of them are right by default, but I don't get the sense that she did. So now we have to go to the second part of the option that she chose. And these questions, she's got it all here in one paragraph as opposed to broken out by paragraph. That can be okay as long as everything is covered. And sometimes I forget what questions were asked. And so my little cheat here for that is I right click on project B and I click open in a new tab. And then I click on project B and I quickly remind myself of what questions were asked. Oh, right. It was the differences between dependent, independent, explain, describe how you were interdependent. And the very last part is explain your next 3 steps for actively building a college support network. Okay, so now I've been refreshed. I come back here and now I have to decipher this from Anna's paragraph. Difference between codependency and interdependency is that codependency involves dependence on another. So she, like this part, it seems like she's kind of getting here. Interdependence involves sharing roles. Okay, I like that. So this part right here is actually an answer to the first question, and I like it. Okay, it's not real long, but I can tell that she's getting it. And she says she considers herself more dependent as I rely mainly on myself, or it's mainly up to me to make my choices, which a lot of students say that, but they say that they're being independent, not dependent. So she kind of has the incorrect definition of dependent. And you can tell here, she says, I increase it by attending by myself and always preparing for any questions. And I would be like, ooh, what's it again? And I'd go back up to my project B and I'd go, okay, number 3, describe how you were increasing your interdependence when you participated in your event and appointment. That would be hard for her to do because she hasn't actually done it yet. So that's probably where we got to that. So that's not exactly a full answer, but is not surprising. And then she does list one of her next steps is to have good communication with people with knowledge on what I want to do. That's very good. Another step I need to take is building communications with classmates. Okay. And build her resume with her certification. That's actually very nice to see. So when we're looking at the second step of part 2, or this paragraph part, she did answer most of the questions. She definitely didn't have 4 or 5 sentences, so I would probably give it in this mid-range again too. Okay, somewhere in here. As far as comments go, if we're looking at that section there, we have, where are we at? Well, this one is usually a no-brainer. Usually I get to use this one all the time. And I'm so glad that this project allowed you to have an interdependent activity. Unfortunately, she didn't have that, but I could say it allowed you to schedule an appointment. And then I can explain that it's supposed to be completed before the deadline. There's also, I have a comment in here about, there are directions that say the paragraph should be full paragraphs. So I could leave that in there about needed a bit more information to hit those requirements. I have a supportive comment here. She's got some things about, she did have some things about dependence, but we can tell she doesn't, maybe have a full understanding of that. And support network wasn't exactly, addressed fully. But so one thing that I'll do, a lot of students list something about getting more connected with IVTech resources. So I put in there a little blurb about Trio, which is a student support option that I don't always have time to have come to my class, but if it's something I think can help the student, I will put that in there. Okay, so now we have a good example of someone who did option A with the appointment. What you're going to see first is the quadrants, and you'll see that there aren't any lines on there, and it's a little hard to read, but it still does the job. And this student has a much better understanding, I think, than Anna of what's happening in the quadrants. Definitely appropriate things down here in quadrant 4, the shopping, maybe she just spur of the moment went shopping. And then you can tell these quadrant 2 things are, kind of working ahead on things. So to me, it seems like she has Goofy has a pretty good idea of that. So I'm going to go back and paste in my comments here. Keep that first one, and then I get to use my excellent job placing tasks within the quadrants, and then I move on to the next part. Beat all the not as great ones like that. I would say that on the quadrant wise, I would give that a 10 out of 10. And now I scroll down to the next part here, and they had an advising appointment, and you can even just kind of skim over it to tell that they, they're clearly describing what happened. They went in an online version, virtual meeting. I mean, great job. In this assignment directions, it does say to students, if you're not sure where to start, answer the questions who, what, when, where, and why. So we as the instructor should be able to tell what they did based on what they wrote. So now I get to use my positive comment of, I'm also glad this project allowed you to reflect on a new resourceful experience. Good job. Now we get into the 5 questions that are down below that are very nicely broken up into paragraphs, which makes it a lot easier to read. And you can tell they meet the length requirement, and really good descriptions here. A lot of students will say they consider themselves to be independent, which is what the previous student was trying to say, but didn't quite use the right vocabulary. This student said they were increasing their interdependence by asking for advice with someone from actually a human to try to find information. And then they said being a part of a new support network is a breath of fresh air. I was like, that's like an advertisement for being interdependent. And then they've got some really nice steps down here about seeing an advisor, using a tutor, establish a good line of communications. Well done. So in my comments, I said something about good job on your details, and also being interdependent doesn't have to be a big deal. And this action steps for TRIO also works for someone who maybe, is doing okay, but could be a little bit more supported. So I would go ahead and leave the TRIO business in there. You could put an emoji in there. If you want to use an emoji that's not listed at the bottom, you get to click this little smiley face over here, and it brings up all the emojis, and you could put a different one in there. I find that it always goes at the end, regardless of wherever I try to put it. So that's where it goes. So I would submit that comment and then back up in the rubric. This was a pretty straightforward one. 10 out of 10 on describing her advising appointment, and 10 out of 10 on her questions there. Okay, this student chose to do the LinkedIn option. You can see up at the top here with the quadrants. This is a little bit more common of what I usually see. It's not in the chart, but that's okay. This one's even more readable. And we can start looking at things like here, quadrant 3. I cleaned up a mess my cats made. Okay, that is unexpected. Visited my grandmother's house. Okay, I don't know, maybe that was unexpected. And you can tell the quadrant 4 things usually make sense. And register for their spring classes early, very exciting. And then this is last minute stuff. So this student definitely nailed the quadrants, even though it's not, and that is okay. So they would definitely get my positive comment of excellent job placing your tasks within the appropriate quadrants. You could add more if you wanted to. Then we get into the LinkedIn profile. And this sentence here that I have about, I'm glad that this project allowed you to reflect on a new resourceful experience, is still relevant for LinkedIn. That's usually new for them. Students are supposed to provide their LinkedIn profile link. And in fact, if we look at the rubric, 10 out of 10 for the quadrants, good job. If you look at part 2, the first step of part 2, it says they have to submit their LinkedIn profile and 20 connections that they've tried to make. If they don't submit their LinkedIn profile, that is a really good example of when I ask a student to resubmit it, because you can't really tell what they did if you can't click on it. Sometimes I'll search for them if they have like a unique name, but usually I don't want to take the time to do that. So I click on their LinkedIn profile, and we can see that this student kind of did just a minimal job here. No photo, which isn't necessarily required. But again, if you go back to the directions and you look, we give them a checklist of what's required, and we also give them a how-to of how to do it. So this student here, obviously, this is not, their name was not Daisy. And so they put in IVYT Community College. I'm not, immunization. I don't know. Not sure quite what to think about that. The student was not a health sciences major. Perhaps they've worked at Amazon, or they just have an interest in it. So there's kind of minimal things done here. They have a LinkedIn profile. There's nothing, egregious about it, but it definitely needs some work. So if we go back to our grading rubric here, then we can look down here at my comments, and we can see what I have down here when it comes to LinkedIn. Not a lot, because a lot of students, if they do it, they usually do a good job on the LinkedIn profile. So I would say something like, unfortunately, the link to your LinkedIn profile was not as complete as it should have been. Listed in the checklist. Again, we give them a lot of tools that they're not necessarily going to get in their other classes. They did reach out to 20 connections. This is exciting, right? These seem reasonable. They reached out to a recruiter at Tesla. Good, great. That's fine. They've reached out to 20 people. But if we go back to Project A, which again, my little Project A, Project B, my little shortcut here is to bring that up here. You will see that for the second part there, they were supposed to answer very similar questions. I think pretty much the same questions as the first one. And they were also supposed to connect with about 5 of those connections. So, question number 3 says, select at least 2 individuals you sent LinkedIn requests to and describe why you chose to network with those people. So obviously they did not do that part of it. And they actually did not answer any of the questions, which is pretty rare. I'm guessing they just ran out of time on this one. But it's the same type of questions. It's the same questions the other one, except for reaching out to someone on LinkedIn. So when we get down to grading this one, the first step, they did give me a LinkedIn link, but it wasn't completed all the way. They did do the connection, so I'd probably give that a 5 out of 10. And then the second step asks about the questions, and that's kind of a no-brainer. They didn't actually answer the questions, so that would be a not completed. We total that up, and that's about a 15 out of 30, which seems appropriate for this here. And then you would click submit and go from there. It does just bring up another blank submission box. I'm not sure why you would want to submit another comment, but you could, but I don't think that's something that would commonly happen. So that's an example of someone who did the LinkedIn option, but did not do as great of a job. And so next we'll look at one who did a lot better. Okay, this is a positive example of option B. They did their quadrants and they seem to make sense. So that would be a no-brainer on the quadrants. They would get their 10 out of 10 there, and they would get my little positive comment about that. And then on the second part, they did LinkedIn and they gave me their LinkedIn profile. And it's going to go to their page here. And they've got a picture. They've got some more information. Again, it's not completely full, but this was a building construction management major. And so they at least have that their skills are that. I know it looks funny that they have these kinds of interests, but that's fair. That means they've been looking on LinkedIn and they did a little bit more here. So you're not going to get everything exactly filled out, but for our students who are just starting college, this probably makes a little bit more sense. Then they reached out to lots of contacts, including universities and presidents, but that's okay. That is always an option. And then you can see that they get into answering the questions about codependent, dependent. And of course, I would spend some more time looking at the details, but I can tell just by skimming it that they are getting those. And then they explain who they connected with. And then they talk about their next 3 steps. So pretty solid effort there. The LinkedIn page maybe could be a little bit better. That's going to be just kind of up for your, discretion there. But I think they did a pretty good job overall. And so I can use some of the more positive comments about that, and I can click submit. And it's also a 2-pronged process, making sure that you click submit and then also making sure that you click save on the rubric.